How are we today? Welcome to Literary Gladiators. This is a show where I am going to discuss and debate some literature, and it's in written form, but it doesn't matter. It's all game. So, anyway, let's get this ball rolling, shall we? Let's get this RV down the road. Just kidding. All right, I'm doing a lyrical analysis from a song I heard on the radio a few weeks, actually no, about a year ago, and I said to myself, I like this. I really, really like this. And I Googled it, and I realized, I said to myself, it's from Little Anthony and the Imperials from 1965. I think it came, no, yeah, it was 1965. The song is Hurt So Bad. It's from a concert he gave back, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I think he was in the PNC Arts Center. As they were going into the song, back then he sang it quicker with a quicker tempo. But there's different arrangements. There's a studio version, and there's the live version, and then there's when he was given a concert version. So there's all different types of, he can still sing. I'm not a real big fan, but I like most of their songs. So actually, I'm gonna have to say I'm a fan, and the drummer is always exceptional. But long story, cut down. He said, I think he was maybe 13 or 14 at the time, and it's now the way it's played, the way I heard it, I love it much. It's much more. It's a lot stronger, for lack of a better musical term here. Shame on me for that, but it's played slower, like a ballad, and it's got a sax solo in there, and he was given a little bit of a prelude going into it. I'm gonna try and have links posted for the original, for the radio, what you heard on the radio at the time on a record, and one of the live versions. I do not, and obviously, when we post, we take no credit. He's 14, puberty's hit up, and just great song. And he's in a way he messed up. A girl he liked. From what I remember hearing, and and he's hurting because he knows. He says, "I messed up," or like needles and pins. People say you've been making out okay. That's the second verse. I don't really, I just listen to it because I like it. I don't play my drums to it because I don't have an iPhone. I'm the only one in America without one. There, I said it. I don't have Bluetooth, but whatnot. I would like to try and play the drums to it because it's a great arrangement. And like I was saying earlier, I'm going to try and have it posted with the, with the stereo recording, like a studio recording, and a live concert setting. And there's quite a difference in tempo and just he can still sing. He can really still sing. A lot of artists, especially from that era, would abuse substances and stuff like that, and they would I have a minor thing going on here. Excuse me, my sinuses are killing me right now, but that's why I'm clearing my throat every 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that. But a lot of artists, they abused, and that would destroy little by little. And smoking, a lot of comics, they were smoking because they were always nervous before they went on stage, and on stage they were so still. And this was the era of drugs, sex, and rock and roll. It was starting to really increase at that time. But he grew up. He's a Jersey. He's a Brooklyn boy. I think from Brooklyn. He's a city kid. And Little Anthony and the Imperials. They're a great group. I love them. And earlier I said I wasn't a fan, but as we were changing the battery, I was lamenting on that and saying to myself, I'm going to have to recant, and I'm going to say, yes, I'm a fan, because it's not just that song, but that's one of my favorites. and I think he said that was his favorite to perform. I listen, Tears on My Pillow. There's another song, Just Two People in the World. This, that, so many great songs. And he had a beautiful elegance. His voice, and the reason I say he can still sing is because I don't think he abused substances. I don't think he smoked. I don't think he did drugs. Like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know too much about Anthony. But I do know the guy can still belt out those notes like he did 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and still sound amazing. And his backup singers, or his I always forget that, being that I've been in many bands, like rock bands and whatnot, I should know this, but they still can sing just as well as they did back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatnot. He screwed up. This is my interpretation of it now. Jeez, I cheated on her. I should not have done that. And he wanted to go back and make things right. Like I said now, my interpretation. I'm not going on what he was saying. It could be the same thing, but still, we're here to discuss and debate. And, let's say I was in that situation. I never was, thankfully, but let's say I was. I would be in pain, and I was starting to quote the second verse, like needles and pins, people say you've been making that okay. Maybe she's over it. She's like, I'm over him. I'm on to the next guy. But he was still, I know I would be heartbroken. I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? I had it all going. I had it all going. We had a great life together and whatnot. So I want to make this right somehow. So I guess, in that time period, a lot of times when, an artist did make a mistake with their significant other, a lot of singers and songwriters and even a lot of musicians, not even just the band alone, a lot of musicians who had nothing to do with the song itself, they just played along to it, like a drummer or the singer or a backing singer, backing vocal, guitar, whatnot, and they would come out of the woodworks and say, I've done a few things I'm not proud of, but playing and singing is my way of saying, I'm sorry, or, hey, let me try and make this up to you somehow, and go on stage and let everyone know. So, that's what I would have done, too. It's the proper thing to do. Own up to your mistakes. I hold that near and dear to my heart. On this show, I try hard not to screw up, even though right now, I think, right here, I'm a little on fire, but that doesn't excuse a bad performance, no matter what. So, always give your 125%, nothing less. Okay, I'm being a drill sergeant now. No. Just do the best you can, And when you make a mistake, own up to it. Ownership is a really big thing to have in life. And it takes a really big person to do that. And I'm not saying big as in physical, I'm saying big as in here. So, I think he won back his lover on that night back in 1965. But then again, who knows? But he did say it's his favorite song to perform. So maybe there's a special connection there. So, if we're going to rate this, I'm going to give it a 5. And I've been very generous lately with the 5-star rating. And for my justification is not only because is it a great song, it's because he is taking ownership. And like I said earlier, I was touching on the subject. He made mention, how he felt heartbroken and how I think Brooklyn was his home. And I think they had a joke thrown in there, and the drummer hit the cymbal and choked the cymbal, got the audience to laugh. So he has that personality too. So he has that, he can win the crowd over, and there's so many other great artists. But this was a song I put on the radio. I was driving, and I said to myself, I remember this song. I gotta try and get it on YouTube, and I didn't know who it was at the time. Because I had it, once I got there, I turned the car off, obviously. That's what you do. But anyway, great song, great band, great singer. And this is a great show to be on. So again, thank you for tuning into Literary Gladiators. This is another lyrical analysis by one and only Charlie, Dipstick, whatever you want to call me. Is that Charlie Claus out there? I don't know. Yep, no, that's not him. Imposter. He's eating oatmeal raisin cookies, not chocolate chip. See you next time. Keep reading, and like, subscribe, and let us know what you think.